Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Controllers. I'm Joey, and this is the channel that reviews controllers when there isn't any handhelds to review. I got nowhere to put my hands. I usually have something, but there's stuff in my way. But we're going to be looking at a whole bunch of different controllers today. I would sure love to review or look at some handhelds at some point. Where did everybody go? They all just kind of disappeared. All kidding aside, I get controllers sent to me often, quite a bit, and I try and sneak them into videos here and there where I can, so I don't have to do a full dedicated video on the controller. It's just not really something I want to do, but I'm very behind, as you can see by the fact that I have 4 different controllers in front of me. So we're going to do one whole video of just all 4 of these controllers, just quick fire, what they are, what they do, and if they're worth it. And special thanks to Acnes from Amazon. I guess that's where their store is. They're on a few different places, but they are a distributor of 8bitdo and GuliKit and Mobapad and a few other options. So they're just kind of the controller guys. And so they're the ones who sent me this. Links in the description to everything in case you want it. They're awesome. So thank you to them. Okay, so let's go over what I have here today. And it's the Mobapad S1 HD, which I actually have on the Switch already. And it's basically these Joy-Cons here on the left and right. You might be familiar with the Mobapad M6 HD. These are kind of the lower little brother of those. So we'll talk a bit about them. I also have the Mobapad S1 S, and that is the exact same controller, except it is missing rumble, no HD rumble. So same thing, it's cheaper, just another option. We have the 8bitdo controllers here, and one of them is, so this is for Windows and Android. It comes with the 2.4 gigahertz dongle, and it's just a nice, cool little cheap controller. This is $30, $30 US. So it's pretty cheap. It's meant to just be a normal cheap controller, and it's just a usual 8bitdo quality that you're used to. Lastly, we have another Switch controller, and it is the 8bitdo Bluetooth controller meant for Switch. And so this one is a bit different. It only has the digital triggers, no analog, still 8bitdo in quality. And so budget controllers here, and we'll talk about them. Okay, so let's start off with the Mobapad S1 HD. And these are a cheaper, different looking option than the Mobapad M6 HD that I absolutely love and are feature rich. Those certainly are end game controls, but they're more expensive than the S1 HD at $80 US. The S1 HD here is $50 US shipped. Honestly, these feel super comfortable, and they would be a nice, cheaper upgrade over the regular Joy-Cons if you play handheld mode quite a bit still. They're not as large as the M6 HDs were, but they curve nicely to your hands. Definitely thicker than the original Joy-Cons though, but in a nice way. I actually like these quite a bit. Now, I was curious what the Mobapad S1 S controllers did differently, since they look the same, they feel the same, and I couldn't really find the difference. But looking at the boxes, and it turns out that the S1 HD has HD rumble. It's right there in the name. Whereas the S1 S just doesn't. The S is $10 US cheaper at $40 US. And besides that, they all do the same thing. So they both have the same features like 6-axis gyro support. Both feel good. So if you don't want the HD rumble, you can make this purchase even cheaper and just spend $40. Now, Mobapad goes even further. They have an app that you can connect to, and it lets you update the controllers or configure them, or just test them if you like. I'm not going to say that this is absolutely needed, because it isn't, besides the updating function, but it is cool to see, and it doesn't seem like they're adding anything to the price to just include it, so it's cool. So I think overall, for me, this is a nice, good, just cheaper option than the Mobapad M6 HD. The D-pad feels nice, the sticks feel nice, they are full-size sticks. The buttons are fine, they're good too. The whole thing feels great, and it's very comfortable to hold. So yeah, I mean, for $30, $40, $50 at that price range, if you can find it for $30, that'd be awesome. And you just want to play handheld and you don't like the Joy-Cons because they're not that great, then yeah, absolutely. This is an easy purchase and it feels great to me. Next up is the 8bitdo Ultimate 2C Bluetooth controller. This is also meant for the Switch, and it has digital triggers to match, not analog. This is $30 US right off of Amazon, and overall it is just meant to be a cheap controller, but it has pretty good features for $30. There is 6-axis, rumble, Hall effect sticks, And there's multiple colors. There's a lighter blue and there's a pink available too. This one feels pretty good in the hands, like most 8bitdo controllers do. Sticks feel fine, and for $30, there's really not much to complain about here. Seems like a good, cheap option if you're looking for it, and you can avoid scouring AliExpress for all those cheap brands and just stick with a good one like 8bitdo. Honestly, there is not much to say about this one. The controls feel good, D-pad feels alright, the entire thing just feels like a nice cheap controller that you would probably buy a few of to hand to family and friends when they come over, and it's nice to just have. So yeah, I don't have a lot of negatives here. It even has an L4 and R4 button if you need extra buttons to play with. But yeah, it's just another option for a cheap Switch controller that's just wireless. Lastly, we have the 8bitdo Ultimate 2C wireless controller. And the difference between this one and the one we just looked at is this one works on Windows and Android, according to the box, and I can confirm that it also works on Linux too, or at least Bazzite, which is what I'm using here on my Ally X, whereas the other option just works on Switch. Yeah, I know, I've been testing out Bazzite on my X, and I know that is weird for me to do, but we'll talk about that at a later date. I used an external USB hub to power and connect the 2.4 GHz dongle that comes with this controller, and we were off to the races right away. This controller has a bunch of colors. There is gray, green, mint, peach, and purple. Same sort of idea spec-wise as the other 8bitdo. There is Hall effect sticks, there's 1000 Hz polling rate, there's Hall triggers since these are actual analog triggers, and so on. $30 here as well, so it's a nice cheap option for you to purchase. Overall, once again, if you are looking for a cheap controller at $30, then I don't see a lot negative here at all, really. It's fine. It's a good controller at $30 with what you're getting. I don't have any real negatives here. So if that's what you're looking for, 8bitdo on both fronts are kind of covering you here for Switch and for Windows, Linux, Android. It kind of has everything you need in multiple colors and all of that. If you want to jump up to the other 8bitdo higher end options, you can, but for a cheap $30 controller, then yeah, this is well built and it feels great to me. So no real complaints here. I think what's cool is that it actually has the 2.4 GHz dongle with it. So that's included in the box. You can connect that to your computer, connect it to your Ally, your Steam Deck through adapters, and have no wireless input latency like you would in Bluetooth. It's just straight 2.4 GHz. So that helps a lot. And at $30, that's a good feature add to just have right there with you. Okay, so let's kind of wrap things up here. There is not a lot to say here. I actually really like the M6 HD controllers. These are a bit different in scope, but they are just as comfortable. They have just as much features as I think you would want as a normal person just using a Switch in handheld mode. So for me, yeah, this is an easy recommendation. Either the HD Rumble version or the standard version. Probably just grab the standard unless you really care about Rumble. Depends on how you like that immersion, I guess. HD Rumble is cool in certain features and ways, but for the most part, $40 gets you a really good handheld controller. And look, the Switch isn't dead yet. They sold 150 million of these things. The Switch 2 is coming pretty soon, but there's going to be a lot of people that are still going to just use the regular Switch and maybe not upgrade. So if you are going to do that and you are still, for some reason, using Joy-Con controllers, maybe treat yourself to the S1 HD or S1S, or go even further up to the M6 HD. These are cool controllers. Mobapad makes really good ones, and yeah, I really like them. Now, on the 8bitdo controller front, for $30 each of these controllers, I mean, I'm thinking back to $30 back in my day when I was younger, and we'd have Mad Catz controllers, and you'd have these no-name knockoff brands at Blockbuster, and you would hand those off to anybody who came over, and the sticks would be destroyed, the buttons would barely work, and you would just sit there laughing as you're shooting them over and over and over again in GoldenEye, and they're just kind of lost because they have a crappy controller. So $30 nowadays isn't like that. You actually get a really good controller for $30. And so yeah, 8bitdo makes really good stuff. I don't have a lot of negatives here to say. It's $30. These are good controllers. If you're looking for extra controllers, then grab one of these. If you're looking for a main controller, maybe step up onto the other 8bitdo options that they have, the more higher end features if you want. But for $30, yeah, these are great. That is all I really have for you today. Controllers, man, they are infiltrating our lives. They're infiltrating our houses. They are everywhere you look. Controllers, you got to be careful, but these ones today were actually pretty good. So we'll do this again at some point in the future whenever I rack up a bunch of controllers that need to be reviewed. And then we'll look at them all again in just one quick video, but hopefully this helped you in maybe making a decision or taking a look at what's out there. Let me know in the comments below if any of these are on your radar, if you have any of them, and what your thoughts are. So we'll go from there. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk all about retro handhelds, and apparently now controllers. We're gonna have to create a channel for that. Support me on Patreon if you like my stuff. And hope you all have a good one.